Greetings, my friends. If you are, if you're into any of this stuff, if you're a rewilder or bushcrafter, survivalist, whatever you do out in the woods, you probably have come up to people who have said, why in the world would you learn hand drill? We have lighters, right? Why would you learn these primitive skills when we have these awesome, technological improvements that make things so much easier and they're so much more effective? And this is a good question. I'm sure you've been asked it, and at the end of the video, I'd love to hear what you think of it and your responses. But I wanted to share the thoughts that came to me with this. And it's kind of funny because often I think of our ancestors. And, no matter who you are, just, 12, 15,000 years ago, your ancestors were hunter-gatherers. And think about their life, their world for a moment. Because they lived in a world of ice ages. They had megafauna, bears that dwarfed our modern grizzlies, saber-toothed cats, these amazing creatures that they lived with. And they had no cell phones. They couldn't dial 911. They had no firearms. They had no bear spray. All they had was each other and stone tools. And if you think for a moment, every single one of your ancestors, this is amazing, every single one of your ancestors had to live to breeding age and have children in order for you to be alive right now. So you have this lineage going back of this incredible ancestry. And the funny thought that comes to my mind sometimes is if I'm out in the woods and let's say I'm going to use a lighter to start a fire, and sometimes I can almost hear those ancestral voices saying, like, oh, I can't even look. Seriously, you're using a lighter? And if we're using a GPS unit to navigate, and our ancestors are just going, seriously, look, there's the sun right up there. There's shadows. You can navigate just fine without that. And so, for me, there's almost this humorous take on it, where I can imagine our ancestral selves just rolling in their graves as we sit on a sofa and use a remote control to, let's say, change the channel on a television because we can't even get up and walk across the room. On a more serious note, though, I think this idea of using a lighter or using hand drill, it asks us a really important question that is important for us to think about living in the civilized world. Where is our line? If you've seen that movie WALL-E about the robot, all the humans, they don't even walk anymore. They just go around in these hovercraft chairs with screens right in front of them. They're all, they can't even walk because they don't. And so as our technology gives us more and more things to simplify our lives, to make things easier and easier and easier, then each of us has to ask that question, where's our limit? Where are we going to say that that's enough? If we can have a watch that tunes us in to our social media constantly, is that too much for us, or is that a smart move? If I could have clothing that keep me warm at just 72 degrees Fahrenheit all the time, so I never feel the discomfort of cold or of heat, is that something I want? All of these things that magical set of clothing I'm talking about, or the lighter. We no longer have to exercise some of the skills or abilities that we had in the past in order now to accomplish starting a fire or accomplish staying warm. And it asks us all kinds of questions about physical health. Am I willing to no longer walk and just go around on a hovercraft? Maybe you are, and that's, there's no judgment here. You get to make your own choices of where your line is. But when we stop walking, our muscles degrade, our bones grow weak, we lose something intrinsic to ourselves. And I think that is where, for me, going back and practicing some of these ancestral skills, these primitive skills, it brings us back into some of our original gifts. A strong body, senses that can be aware, a mind that feels vibrant and unclouded. It's a big topic, and I think in the next 10, 20 years, a lot more of us are going to find ourselves really confronted by this idea of where we draw our line. Because if technology continues as it does, we're going to have so many offerings that make our life so much easier, that give us access to health, to a clear or a more steady state, emotional state. Are we going to use, a little headset that I wear that always makes me happy? Or do I want to learn to experience sadness and frustration and anger and happiness? Which is a more vibrant life? So that was a long way of saying, in short, that I think these ancestral skills, they wake something up in us. Because when I see somebody start a fire with a hand drill or a bow drill, a joy blossoms inside of them, an excitement that says something inside of us that's really us is getting to come out. Those ancestors, they're no longer looking away in embarrassment. They're going like, right on. And they're really proud of us in that moment, and we feel a bond with them. Whether it's the skills here, or it's mental, emotional skills, or it's forging our body, what are you going to choose? Is it going to be this path of continued ease? Or is it going to be giving yourself discomforts, giving yourself inconveniences, giving yourself tougher situations because you know that it creates something inside of you that those comforts never can? In the comments, please share your thoughts about this. Where is your line? Where have you gone too far into comforts and conveniences? And what have you found there? Have you gone so far the other direction? Have you gone really far into making yourself uncomfortable and challenging yourself? What did you find there? Between those two extremes, where right now are you drawing your line? And in the future, as things get easier and easier, where do you see yourself drawing a line and saying, this technology looks really, really cool, but it's just too much. So, thank you for watching, my friends, and please share in the comments. I can't wait to read.